Welcome back, everyone, to the TD Garden for our 8th pop-up session of the day. It's Championship Sunday in MIAA hockey, and we got a great one going right now. The D1 boys final between St. John's Prep, the number 1 seed, and the number 11 seed, the Winchester. Red and black at the end of 15 minutes. It is St. John's Prep 1 and Winchester no score. Winchester still on the power play as we start the second period, I believe. We'll check that, but pleasure to be joined right now by, on my far right, Bob Conceition, the coach, who will be calling the second game, the sixth game, the second game of where we stand now when the D2 boys final will be decided. And, of course, Jim Clark in the slot, now a part of the MIAA team. And it's great to have you with the MIAA team, Jim, but also great to have you with us here.
Always great to be back here. I mean, this is like Christmas for the hockey Krishnas of the world. So, it's sad that this is the last day of the tournament, but, it's been a great run, and all the hard work of everybody has paid off for, getting us here to this day.
Well, and it's your birthday weekend. Your birthday was Friday. Colin Barkin, our producer's birthday, was yesterday. We thank Colin and Jeff Lane, our My Hockey Live guys, for being here and helping us out with all these pop-ups. We want to shout out to the crew at the Villa, the China Villa up in Middleton, who may be watching, St. John's Prep fans, and they're happy with a 1-0 lead. And Bob Conceition, quick review of that first period. I think Winchester did what they had to do. They stayed tight. Their goaltender played very well. The Prep did sneak one in there. J.R. Goldstein, the defenseman, the sophomore, sifting one through about 100 bodies in front. We think it was deflected by a Winchester player. Carson Irving, the only assist on that goal, but St. John's Prep leads it 1-0 after one.
Well, I think before the game we were saying two things. Number one, the first 5 minutes were important, and Aiden Emmerich made about 3 saves in the first 5 minutes, which I think stabilized the game for Winchester. What I saw is that Winchester is playing their game, and the Prep's playing their game. It's two different types of games, and I think that's to Winchester's advantage. They're not trying to change what they do. They're getting sticks in the way. They're chipping pucks out. And they had a couple of really good opportunities, but that's the way they have to play. The Prep is playing their 4-line game, and their 4th line was actually on the ice for the goal.
Right.
The tip-in came from maybe off a defenseman or whatever. So both teams were playing their games. I thought it was a real good period, and I think Winchester's got to feel good about that period. It's great that they didn't get a shot off with two seconds to go in that short-handed play, but now they have some time on the power play. But I like the way Winchester played, and the Prep played their typical game.
Yeah, and I think Winchester wants to test A.J. Faris, the goaltender for St. John's Prep. He made a couple of good stops.
He did, yeah.
Not 5 stars, but he was where he had to be. And I think Winchester wants to get pucks on the net. And I think, following up on what you said, Bob, I think Coach Gino Kay in the room is going to say, hey, they're not immortals. We played with them for that period.
Yep.
Let's go and pick things up.
Yeah, definitely.
Clarkie, good day here at the Garden. A little bit set back on the schedule with that triple overtime in the first game. A terrific game, by the way, but it's pushed everything back. But the crowd doesn't seem to mind. We got almost a full bowl down below.
Yeah, crowds have been phenomenal, and it's inevitable you're going to have overtime, and that just kind of throws things off. You try to squeeze 6 games into such a tight window; it doesn't take a whole lot to kind of get you off schedule. But phenomenal first girls game with St. Mary's winning that in the triple overtime, and good action ever since then. A Dover Sherborne Weston team that had a flurry of goals there in about a span of 5 minutes, sandwiched in the second and third period to beat Hanover. Duxbury girls win their second straight Division II title.
They look
and
really
then,
strong.
Just a phenomenal performance by Marblehead in that last game to take out Nauset.
Yes.
Nauset, I said that I think if the net was 4 feet 1 inch by 6 feet 1 inch, Nauset probably wins that one 5-1. But you need
Marblehead goalie was excellent.
Leo Burge was phenomenal.
Tremendous.
And they got some puck luck, and Nauset just couldn't bury one. Just a great defensive performance by Marblehead, and they win the championship, and a good one here, and we expect a really good one after this one with Tewksbury and Boston Latin as well. The crowds have been fantastic. We can't ask for anything better.
So you had 5 number 1 seeds coming into today, and so far they are 1 and 2.
Yeah, it's we knew there was going to be parity. I mean, you just watch how the Division I bracket shook out pretty much the entire season. Everyone said anyone in the top 10 could win it, and obviously now you have a number 11 here. Winchester loses to CM 3-0, literally the last game of the regular season, and then they beat them 4-1 during the tournament. So, in the 3 overtime games, St. John's Prep, I think they were consistently the best team throughout the season, but that doesn't mean that they weren't, vulnerable. They obviously lost a couple of games along the way, lost their opener to Hingham, and came back and beat them in the round of 8 in a pretty good game. So I think we all knew that anybody could have gotten here, and I think you've seen that play out.
Yeah, I agree. Talking to people that watch the game closely in D1, I mean, we talked about 9, 10, 11, 12 teams that could make a deep run, and early on you get some higher seeds knocked off, and all of a sudden it opened the whole tournament up, more so on the right side of the bracket than the left. But you had the 1 and the 4, the Prep and Xaverian in the semis, and Prep probably played their best game of the year.
Yep.
The best period, no question.
First period.
Xaverian was very formidable. And the first period of that game, the Prep looked like BU, for goodness sakes.
Yeah, but it's funny you talk about that right side of the bracket, but the left side actually had the biggest one early on when Weymouth took out Archbishop Williams in that first game.
That's
right. That was a 28-5, which I believe is the biggest upset that we've had in the 3 years of the statewide tournament, at least in the hockey brackets. And Arlington Catholic with a great run. They took out Pope Francis in the second round. So
and beat Marshfield late.
Yeah. So you like to see the higher seeds, come through to kind of prove that the system's working. But the upsets also make the tournament what it is. It just gives everyone hope that, any given night, you can play your game and you can move on. So it's awesome.
To wit, this game where Winchester is only down 1-0 after 1 and giving St. John's Prep all they want. And the nightcap with Tewksbury, the number 1 team, who has been that way for both Tewksbury and St. John's Prep, kind of the consensus number 1 teams in their respective divisions most of the year, and yet here's Boston Latin with a terrific goalie, Winchester with a terrific goalie. Obviously it takes more than just your goaltender, but once you got that, you can build on that.
Yeah, and Boston Latin, third meeting, league teams, and so they always say that those are really tough to predict. So Latin with a couple of good upsets along the way, taking out Duxbury, and it's a number 11 seed, so you can't count out the Cinderella at this time of year.
No, they've got dynamic players. Watch number 8, Danny Collins. He's someone that the Prep will have to keep their eye on, among others. And I would think Bob Conceition, the Prep may shorten the bench a little bit, not go to the 4th line as much. But as you said, they were out there for the only goal of the game.
Yeah, I mean, I if I were a Christian, I would continue to play his players the way he's playing. Winchester will wear down. They don't play as many guys. But you're right about Collins. But Winchester also has some really good young kids on that team. And I said they had to play with emotion. I think they're playing with emotion, but they're not playing crazy emotion. They're not making a lot of mistakes, and they took 1 penalty, but they're not taking a lot of penalties.
Which is a really good thing.
That's the key. Yeah, absolutely.
So we will go back to the action here as the teams are back on the ice, and Bob and I will be here at least for
till midnight.
We'll have another update after the second period, and it's always a pleasure to have Jim Clark on board. I learn a lot just in a 5-minute interview with you, Clarky, and it's always a pleasure, especially on your birthday weekend.
Yeah, there you go. Always happy to come on. I mean, you guys do such a tremendous job for high school hockey.
We have fun.
Can't thank you enough for being. I mean, we've been doing this for so long that we know the drill. So
since we were kids, I think.
Yep.
We will break right here and cut this one off, episode 8, and be back with episode 9 in about 20 or 25 minutes, folks. You're watching the YouTube channel on My Hockey Live.